NBA playoffs. Jazz Courtside is on 1320 KFAN. The Jazz are getting ready for the Bulls. Let's go back to the Delta Center for the inside of the coach Tom Nissalke with David Locke on 1320 KFAN.
Steve Kerr's launching shots from three. Chris Morris practicing free throws on the other end as we come to you live from the Delta Center. David Locke along with the coach Tom Nissalke. KFAN time 6:23. Steve Young finishing up some stuff with can't figure out who he's with, but he's with somebody, and then he'll be coming over to John Lund here in just a moment, so we'll have that conversation upcoming. Let's go to John Lund, who's standing by with the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers and is also the former BYU great. Steve Young is with our John Lund here courtside at the Delta Center.
Steve, kind of nice to maybe be watching the game tonight and not having to be playing in it. You're used to these situations.
I don't know which one's worse, sitting at home and watching or being right there, because it's, I'm nervous for the guy. I want to see him win. I feel like I'm watching my brother play football. I'm way more nervous to watch than play. And so I think that's why fans struggle so much, because we have nothing to do with it. So we just have to watch and be nervous.
You know the pressure that these guys are under, Steve. What are they feeling right now before a big game like this in a finals-type situation?
They're used to it. It's not as bad as you would think. I got to take a picture. You talk for a second.
Yeah, well, hang on. Guys, Steve Young's got to take a quick picture. He's ever popular, as you can probably tell. Everybody's trying to get on to Steve Young. He'll be back with us in just 1 second. Well, it's okay. I got to hit everybody.
You're trying to get a piece of him also.
Jack Nicholson's waiting to talk with you, John.
What's that?
Jack Nicholson's up here waiting to talk with you.
I know. I'm going to get Jack, too. He turned me down, but he doesn't know what I'm about.
He doesn't know.
I'm persistent.
He doesn't know the essence of John Lund.
I'm very persistent, to say the least.
I'll tell you one thing about what Steve said that was really true.
Can I just catch you really quick again?
Yeah, we can get back to that.
No problem. Steve Young is back. And, Steve, how tough is it to be the target constantly of everybody else? I mean, you used to that with the 49ers. The Bulls are that same thing. How tough is that?
Well, you start to carry yourself to be. That's the way you live. That's who you are. You don't think of it as, oh, it's much harder, much more difficult. You say to yourself, there's nothing greater than be that team that people point to, that get up for. That whenever you go into some town, you know that they're not going to overlook the 49ers nor the Bulls. And so you start to live that life. It's like being on a highway and you driving 100 miles an hour. Pretty soon 100 miles an hour seems normal, And so that's certainly, I think, the way the Bulls feel. I think they're unfazed by anything. It's just a matter of getting their emotion up and playing top-line basketball. And I think the Jazz are getting there. They're getting to that championship swagger mentality. And that's why this series, I think everybody smells blood in the water, because they can sense that the Jazz feel that way. There's that sense that after the conference championships in L.A., this is fine, but you know what? This is nothing. We want more. And when you saw that, when they walked up the court and I saw, hey, a nice handshake and a hug, and hey, this is nice, but we got more work to do, that was the first sign that you knew that this team was headed places.
When you were in the same situation, I'm sure with the 49ers as well, as far as your first time that you were in this situation, like that this is our time. Is this kind of what the Jazz are feeling right now?
Yeah, but you got to understand, it was my third championship game when we finally won. So I felt that way the first one in '92 when we were playing the Cowboys. I said, we're going to the Super Bowl. And then you get beat and you're shocked. You're like, how did that happen? And then you have to fight your way back into it. I think the Jazz feel like, because of the age of Carl and John, that it's like, okay, how much more do we have? But even in their own hearts, I don't think they're saying this is the last time we try this. But I think that it starts to wear on you after a while. I'm starting to say that to myself. Hey, how many shots do I have? Luckily, I have one, but certainly these guys are saying to themselves, rightfully so, how many more shots do we got? We got to do it now.
Let's talk about that a little bit. How many more shots do I have? John Elway comes back. Are you friends with Elway? Did you talk to him about his decision to come back?
Well, I think John just needed a break. When you win the Super Bowl, and for him, what a release. It was a release for me and a great relief. But for him, it was a whole career. I was still kind of mid-career, and granted, I needed it for a lot of reasons, but it just became the cornerstone for his career. He can retire now or next year. The next year, it's going to be the same, unless he adds another one. And it's really true for myself. So once you win and you get to the point where it's like you've achieved all those things, you say to yourself, just like John did, I'm sure, you know what? This is fun. And you know what? I'm going to give it another shot. I'm going to go for it. And it's hard to say, oh, I'd rather go sell cars, or I think I'll just go play golf. What's that? I want another shot at this thing. John Elway could be 40. He'll think about it till June, and he'll come back and play, I guarantee you.
Steve Young right here on 1320 KFAN. You're not going into the law business anytime soon, right? You talk about Elway selling cars. You're not going to be a lawyer anytime soon, right?
I want a championship. I want another one. I'm greedy.
You're just like Jordan. It's not enough. Do you always have that that will to win like Jordan was asked that? You've already got 5 rings, Michael. Why do you want a 6th?
Bill Walsh used to say the #1 quality of a championship team is to be greedy. To be greedy means that you never think about, well, hey, it's nice that we won one, or hey, this would be nice if we did this. It'd be no. We want this now. And I don't care how many we won. If you're greedy, you're a champion.
Let's wrap it up with Steve Young right here. Steve, give me your fan prediction for the series and for tonight's game, Jazz Bulls.
I see the Bulls going down, a score, much higher score than the other night. I see it 102-96.
Guys, you heard it here first, 102-96. Steve Young says it so. Thanks, Steve. I really appreciate it. Take care. Steve, the guys, back to you courtside.
That was about as good an interview as we've heard today. In fact, that may be the best interview, particularly considering the circumstances of John running around ever. Great work, Mr. Lund. Coach Nissalke breaks down the X's and O's next on a just a bit above average program on 1320 KFAN, the sports leader.